power and by greed and all of this stuff. We realize we don't want that anymore. We don't want that life anymore. We don't want to suffer anymore. We don't want to be in pain anymore. So the only way we can no longer be in pain, the only way where we can no longer suffer, the only way where we can no longer be in fear, and the only way when we can no longer be governed by the power outside of us is by gaining our power back, which is right here, within our own mind. Literally embracing a shift in consciousness within our own mind from that of the 3D confines of the ego construct to that of 5D, which is that of love, which is God love, which is the true essence of who we really are. So it literally is a shift in consciousness. But the thing is the ego mind is brilliant in its defense mechanisms, okay? So it will do whatever it can do to run us around in circles and try to justify its own beliefs, to justify its own thoughts, right? Like if you're in apathy and you feel like shit, ego will be like, okay, it's just, it's okay to just be here. You can be here in apathy. You need to experience this, because, it'll make you a stronger person. That's insane. Apathy does not make you a stronger person, okay? Apathy just simply shows you the deepest, darkest state in which ego can take you to, and of course it would justify its existence to be there, because if you're not feeling apathy and feeling alone and feeling separate and feeling like shit, like you want to die, then ego has no use, okay? But ego's purpose is to make us feel like crap. Ego's purpose is to make us keep our goals in the future, reaching our goals in the future, right? Ego's purpose is to make us feeling separate and alone and small and dark and not good enough. That's ego's purpose. So of course it's going to justify the reasons why you're in darkness and in apathy, because it wants to preserve itself. But the truth is, people, is this apathy, this fear, this ego mind is a complete illusory thought system that does not exist. It's not an enemy. It's not something to get mad at and yell at and fight against and do anything like that. Not at all. Not at all. But what this ego is nothingness. It's nothingness. Up until this point, it has kept us feeling like separate little bodies who need to fend for themselves in this life and do the best they can and make the most money they can and sleep with as many people as they can and do the best family way that they can, but it has been based on the false sense of I, right? And so still, even though we would have these like happy days by, let's say we're going on a trip and we have a great trip, you come back from the trip and you've still got to live your mundane life, working 9 to 5, feeling like shit in the evening, can't go to sleep, eating a lot of food, drinking my face off, whatever it may be, right? So no matter what, the ego mind construct is the up and the down. It's the roller coaster of life. It is the duality, right? And so we have this encompassing life that is not stable, that is not perfect peace, that is not love and joy all the time, right? Because ego wants us to feel like shit. It wants us to have something to focus on, to say that, this disease defines you. Your body defines you. You're too fat. Once you're not that fat, you'll be able to help more people, right? Like it has all of these beliefs that we've accepted at some point that it keeps giving back to us so that we stay this small, isolated, secluded person, right? But when we get to the point where we no longer want to experience apathy, where we no longer want to suffer in any way, where we no longer even want to have mediocre days, it is at that time when we become open to looking at these fearful thoughts, to looking at ourselves when we're in these deep, dark times, for looking at the emotions of frustration and not good enough, and bringing the light with us, right? Because all this ego mind is us walking around in the darkness, okay? People here are sleeping. They're dreaming a dream of chaos and hell. Bug. Right? We're dreaming here that, life is wars, and life is money and systems and hierarchy and dominated by the government and have to do all these particular things. This is our belief based on what the external world appears to be, right? But this merely has been us doing the very best that we can here with the information that we had, which was really nothing other than us believing ourselves to be this body and having to make something of ourselves in this world. You know, that's it. That's been ego's only goal. And so when we're ready to stop all of this chaos and suffering is not when we try and fix out there at all, but when we try and fix in here. Okay? So if we find that we have, we'll have experiences that hurt us in our life, that, perhaps we've experienced a rape of some kind or abuse of some kind, or someone in our family has, and we'd prefer not to look at that experience. We'd prefer not to relive it again because it was too painful. What we really need to know is that that is just another way for our ego to keep us trapped in the pain of the past. And that even though we may not look at it consciously, we're still holding it onto it in our deepest subconscious mind, and we're living through that. So no matter what, we will continue to attract the similar and same experiences because it's still within us, and we're afraid that it may or may not happen again, and therefore we bring it back upon ourselves. So what I have been taught is that we must look at our ego with the light. We must look at these thoughts with the light. We must look at these experiences and memories that we have had with the light. And as we do so, what happens is our previous thoughts about the previous experiences that we had, or the previous feelings or thoughts that we had, dissolve, disappear, and fall away. Because the light is the truth. The light is who we are. The light is us as a child of God, a soul who was the first one to choose to even have this experience of separation. And that link, that joining link, is still within us, has never left us, and will always be within us, right? So when we start to realize that there's only one truth, and there's only one illusion, and I'm going to choose the truth of who I am, and not the illusion of who I am, then what we can start to do is take the light that we are, and bring this light with us, and look at all of our ego thoughts. And we can just do this with little thoughts, and then we can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the mind, right? But we must be willing to look at everything, right? And if you take these thoughts, let's say you're justifying your apathetic feelings, right? If that is really true, if that's a real state in which we can experience, then if we were to take the light and look at that apathy with us and it was true, it would stay there, right? But it's not true, so it will fall away, and you will see it differently. And what will reside in its place is love and forgiveness. It just happens naturally. But we must look at it. We must look at our thoughts. We must look at our feelings. We must look at our memories. And if we look at them, they dissolve and fall away. But if we don't look at them and we keep stuffing them down, then we're just stuffing it down. And we're going to continue to live through our ego mind and have these up and down days and just accept it for, it being so. Instead of literally and honestly being able to take responsibility for everything that happens in our life, to reinterpret all of it to that of love and light, and to literally walk this world with a new consciousness, so that no longer are we seeing through the eyes of the body, but we're seeing through the eyes of the soul. No longer are we hearing through the ears of the body, but we're hearing our own internal teacher and the voice for God speak to us when we ask of it. It thus shows us the true reality that is before us instead of the false illusion of mind. Okay? This is the shift in consciousness in which we are all experiencing, but the ego doesn't want to hear this because it would be death to ego, and that sucks for him. Because this body, pain, guilt, is its life. That's its purpose. To keep us as separate, as small, as feeling shitty and not good enough and disgusting as it possibly can make us feel. That's ego. Ego is the complete opposite of God. And once we learn more about what God is and what we are, we realize that there is no opposite to God, that this ego mind is a complete illusion, that this world is a complete illusion of the mind that perceived itself to be separate, and thus all of it may disappear. All of it. But we first must render it useless and meaningless in our own mind. And as we render the thoughts of the ego and the experiences of the ego useless and meaningless in our own mind, then a completely new way of looking at it comes forward. A completely new way of seeing it comes forward. You know, the truth comes forward and replaces it for us, right? So if we justify any darkness, it's ego. Okay? If we feel that, we're experiencing pain in the body, and we're justifying it that's just the way it is, so I'm going to have to go take medication, and I'm going to go have to do this, and go to the doctors, and do all these things outside of the selves, that, again, is still ego just projecting it out there as if there's out there going to be a solution, right? But no. The cause is within the mind. The effect is of the body. So again, when we take it back to source and we ask to look at all of these folly thoughts of mind, then they disappear, and then the pain of the body disappears, and then the hatred of the self disappears. The everything disappears, and the only thing that remains is love, because love is all there is. Love is real and only love. There's so many people who throw that around and believe that, but at the same time, they are living their lives in conflict. At the same time, they still have days where they're consumed in guilt. And they say that that's okay. I need this ego because I'm a body. No! We don't need this ego. And we literally need to let it go. And all we have to do is look at it. We are the light. The light is within us. And the Holy Spirit that's in my mind that teaches me this proper perception is in your mind also. And it is that Spirit that gives you the light. So take that light and look at the ego, and the ego will fall away. It has to. It's not about making it an enemy. It's not about banishing it. And it's not about making it a friend. It's a matter of seeing it for what it really is. And for what it really is a complete and entire illusion of mind. It does not exist. Suffering is not justified in any means, and it does not have to be there. But no matter what, ego will run us around in circles until we say, stop! Stop! I'm not listening to you anymore. You are insane, and I'm realizing you are insane, and I'm open to seeing the whole of your insanity, so Spirit, please teach me. Spirit, please show me the proper perception of my body. Spirit, please show me what I am not so I can remember what I am. Right? And then that's it. That's all it takes. And we will be shown how truly insane this ego is. And you can keep reliving old patterns as long as you want. Enjoy it, which you probably won't. Right? But relive old patterns as long as you want. Keep it up if that, feels good to you. But the moment you're done suffering, the moment you're done having your bad days, the moment that you're done, judging yourself or others, or being afraid that you're not going to have money, or being afraid that things aren't going to turn out, well then, maybe become open to a different way then. And it is at that time when you can become open to a new way. And you literally pray. You open to seeing differently. You remember that the light is within us, and we take this light and be willing to look at every thought that we have, every misperception that we have, every single feeling that we have that opposes that of love. If it's not love, it does not exist. And as we continue to look at the darkness in our mind, it vanishes, it falls away, and it falls away, and it falls away. And again, like the veils lift, the veils lift, the veils lift, the veils lift. And then we have this clear lens. It's a clean mirror, so that no longer are we projecting what's in here out there, but instead what we're doing is, since our mirror is clean, we become this extension of the will of God, and it extends through us and out there. So instead of projecting the insane thoughts of the ego consciousness, which we see very clearly in the world around us, which is falling apart and shambles and separate, where Africa is, absolutely starving, and then we have the States, which is absolutely fat and obese, right? The world is split. But it's because it is a reflection of our split consciousness, okay? So now what we're learning is this split consciousness, the dual mind, the both sides of it, okay? Both sides of it need to fall. And the only way it falls is by taking the light and looking at it and watching it dissolve on its own, because it does not exist. So when we become open to looking at it, it falls away. But if we don't look at it, it'll stay there, and it'll continue to place the blocks between us and the truth of us. It will continue to place the blocks between us and what is really, really, really reality, right? So this is a choice that we get to make. Do I want to continue to live in my suffering, insane mind? Or do I value peace and happiness and love and giving and sharing with my brothers and sisters instead, right? So just before I kind of finish up here, I just want to read this one last paragraph here from A Course in Miracles. Basically, it's projection versus extension, okay? So basically, it's on God and the ego. So it says here, you have made by projection, but God has created by extension. And that's exactly what I was just saying, right? So that's perfect. The cornerstone of God's creation is you. For his thought system is light. Remember the rays that are there unseen. The more you approach the center of his thought system, the clearer the light becomes. The closer you come to the ego's thought system, the darker and more obscure becomes the way. Yet even the little spark in your mind is enough to lighten it. Bring this light fearlessly with you and hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system bravely. Be willing to judge it with perfect honesty. Open the dark cornerstone of terror on which it rests and bring it out into the light. There you will see that it rests on meaninglessness, and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing. Right? Beautiful. So this is in essence what it is, right? Proper perception of ego, recognizing that it is nothingness, that it is complete illusion, and that it can fall away when we give ourselves permission to look at it, okay? And the light within us is there to guide us, to protect us, to keep us safe. Nothing can go wrong. Fear doesn't even exist, so it can't harm us. So all we're learning to do is to look past and through this ego mind to the light and truth on the other side. And as we get to that other side, which is the light going to take us right to the light, right? Then that which was in the middle, the ego, the insanity, the illusory mind, falls away because it no longer has a foundation, right? It no longer has a belief that says, oh, it's real, I'm afraid, I'm not going to look at it, it's going to take over me, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That's gone because we realize that this fear has no power over us. This fear does not exist. The only thing that exists is the light within us, is that true extension of our Father through our own one mind that joins all of our brothers and sisters together, including Jesus and the Holy Spirit and God for one and all of eternity, right? That is the truth. That is the true essence, unity. So that's what we're experiencing here, is a shift of consciousness from that of fear to that of love, from that of ego to that of God. We can't have one foot in each. We have to choose one. We have to choose one. Either it's the truth, which is God, and which is us as souls, or we can choose an illusion, which is the ego mind, which is the thought of perceived separation. It's an ultimate choice, and that is all, right? So when we start to realize how insane ego is, then we don't want to listen to it anymore because it's insane and it doesn't even make sense, and all it does is try and keep us feel guilty and alone and separate and not good enough, and who wants that? I don't want that, and I don't want that for you. So I will never talk to that part in you that believes itself to be small, that believes itself to be not good enough, because it does not exist. The light is within you. God is within you. And I'm going to speak to that part of you so that part of you shines. And the little spark of light that you accept in your mind is going to be that spark of light that dissolves all the darkness, that dissolves all the illusion, that dissolves completely that mind of ego, so that you may rise and blossom into the beautiful light being that you are, right? Which is our true essence for all eternity. We're literally just waking up to the truths of who we are and realizing that we must let go of everything that we are not. And that includes the entire thought system of mind, of ego mind, right? Yes. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to say goodbye for now and probably pick this up after and do a continuation of it in some way, because I know this is what a lot of people need to hear. So I'm thankful to be able to share it. So on that note, if anybody has any questions, write them and I'm willing to answer. Talk soon. Love you all. Bye.